Yes.
All right. So, well, good evening to all of you from Chicago in the US. First of all, I thank for the opportunity to speak on this prestigious meeting. Thank you for the invite. What I'm going to be doing is basically making a sidestep from all things aortic, and will be taking you on a small journey within mitral and tricuspid therapies. My name is Ihiberg. I'm former cardiac surgeon and former transcatheter operator. I am currently a vice president for mitral and tricuspid therapies at Edwards. And my disclosure is that I'm a full-time employee by Edwards, and that's the only disclosure I have. So, when we talk about patients that suffer from tricuspid and mitral regurgitation, we know that these patients, that they are miserable, they are really having a poor life, and they are suffering from multiple different symptoms that you all are extremely well aware of treating these patients. What we currently know is that both the medical and the surgical options, they do have limitations. Within Edwards, we have been putting a lot of emphasis over the past years in order to develop both transcatheter repair and replacement technologies that currently are truly transforming this space. So in this slide, I give our overall view where the mitral space right now is at. We know that the repair option with the edge-to-edge therapy has been pretty much the only interventional transcatheter treatment option for these patients for the past decades. We know that currently that option is still expanding. It continues to grow. It's supported by a strong outcomes, both in patients that have a simple pathology, as well as patients that have more complex disease as well, who are sicker. We know also that there is a increased awareness of the disease. We still think that repair therapy with the edge-to-edge is and will be the mainstay of transcatheter mitral therapy going forward. However, that being said, we know that finally, after a lot of trials and tribulations, the mitral replacement technologies are just about to break through into the mainstream. And by doing so, over the next upcoming years, it will be extending the therapy options to more patients. Now I'm going to be taking you to some of the technologies that we work on at Edwards, where the first one that I'm introducing to you, that some of you might be familiar with, is the Pascal edge-to-edge repair. In this picture, you see the delivery system of Pascal, which is basically a three-component delivery system called Precision. It's a catheter within a catheter within a catheter system. Everything is non-keyed in order to allow a wide range of degrees of freedom to maneuver the device to all the different portions of the mitral valve, as well as having a lot of ability to correct the trajectories within the left atrium, as well as being able to gain height and steer the system in a very finite and micro motion fashion. Here you see the picture of the actual implant. On the left-hand side, you see the Pascal ACE implant, and on the right-hand side, you see the Pascal implant. They both share the same features when it comes to way how the leaflets are being captured in a technique as we call clasping. It's pretty atraumatic because we have only one single row of retention elements, which allows one to do a couple of things. With the first thing, that these two, they work completely independent from one another, so that you can capture one mitral leaflet at a time. And also it allows you to do basically, as we call it, catch and release and leaflet optimization pretty much as many times as you need without damaging the mitral valve leaflet structure by doing repeated captures of the leaflet, releasing it again, needing to optimize again. If needs to be, it can be done multiple times. Obviously, the goal is to get it right at the first time, but if needs to be, that feature is there with added safety. The whole implant is nitinol based. It doesn't have any hinges or mechanical locking. It's basically heat set in a fashion that it closes on itself. It's physiological, allowing to have some motion throughout the cardiac cycle. The third feature that I would like to highlight as well is the central spacer. The ACE implant on the left-hand side has a very minute spacer per se. The Pascal implant on the right-hand side has a larger spacer that have different kind of use areas on occasions where we think that less leaflet stress is needed, or we think that the actual spacer in the middle will be enhancing the overall leaflet coaptation in between the two leaflets. Currently, when it comes to where we are at with generating the evidence and data on Pascal, it's basically a twofold story. We have multiple randomized trials ongoing called the CLASP trials shown here on the left-hand side. The one being CLASP 2D, which is for primary valve disease, that has been already being enrolled. The results of the full cohort at 1 year were presented last year at the TCT with simultaneous publications. It's already gained approval for primary valve indication in the US. It already has been approved for both functional and degenerative in Europe. We are conducting studies which are shown in here called CLASP 2F, which is for functional mitral regurg, as well as we are doing a study called CLASP 2TR, which is on tricuspid trial. Both of these trials are just about to close their enrollment in the near future, and we're excited to see what the data is going to be looking like. Further to that, we are also doing a real-world studies that validate these results, and Pascal mitral study called MyClasp has been showing an excellent safety and efficacy both in functional and degenerative populations. Also, the TriClasp trial has been showing a significant TR reduction and durable quality of life improvements with an excellent safety profile over time. But anyways, the overall body of evidence on Pascal device and on its benefits is currently increasing all the time. This is just showing you a one slider of results being generated. This is coming from the CLASP 2D trial, showing the main primary and secondary outcome results with respect to effectiveness in terms of MR reduction. This was assessed by an independent core lab throughout all the different time points. I'm drawing your attention to the 1 year outcome of Pascal as opposed to MitraClip with respect of the patients having 96%, close to that of a 2+ or less mitral regurg at 1 year, and as much as 77% of the patients having 1+ or less mitral regurgitation at 1 year. And you can see the corresponding numbers for the MitraClip on the right-hand side of this slide. When it comes to the future innovations of this platform, we keep on innovating. As said, the latest was to develop the Pascal precision delivery system. that has been really appreciated by the physicians. You can see a testament coming from Dr. Latib here in the bottom of the slide, and his appreciation of the precision system. We're working on a future generation iterations on the technology that are focusing on the ease of use and also focusing on enhancing the outcomes in multiple different ways how the design can be improved. The next technology that I would like you to draw attention to is SAPIEN M3, which is a mitral valve replacement technology. I guess that SAPIEN valve doesn't need no introduction to this audience. I think that you're pretty familiar with that as a TAVR technology, but SAPIEN has been used in quite a few patients for mitral as well. So there's more than 6,000 patients that have been treated with SAPIEN in mitral position, mainly in valves, valve-in-rings, and valve-in-Mac solutions. Now, M3 is a further iteration of SAPIEN in mitral. It's two-stage system having an outer duct that, as shown here in this animation, after transseptal puncture, will be delivered through a medial commissure to the subvalvular space. Then after, it's going to be circumnavigating under the valve, as shown in here. So making a couple of loops around the valve, and then thereafter it's being unsheathed and released, leaving portions of it sitting on the atrial side of the valve, as shown in here, and that will be the docking station, whereafter the actual implantation of a SAPIEN valve in a normal balloon expandable fashion is pretty straightforward procedure. Right now we have completed the enrollment on the ENCIRCLE trial for a tier non-eligible patients. We're expecting to get an EU approval by the end of 2025, following thereafter by getting a commercial approval in the US. We're going to be drawing your attention for the last on a tricuspid valve as well, which is even more complex than mitral valve. It used to be the forgotten valve, but it's no longer that. Unlike mitral, we are actually witnessing right now simultaneously both repair and replacement options to emerge simultaneously. As said, we have Pascal system for edge-to-edge use in tricuspid as well. And then we have the Ihiberg, which is shown in here, which is the replacement system for tricuspid. It's a nitinol self-expanding frame, has a bovine pericardial tissue, has 9 ventricular anchors that capture the leaflets, so it's a leaflet-based anchoring. We have 3 sizes available, 44, 48, and 50. It's a sub-30 French delivery system. We currently have more than 1,000 patients treated with it, showing a predictable and repeatable procedure with an average procedure time under 60 minutes. We have shown this to be applicable to a broad patient population. Some of the results, clinical results shown, they come from a TRISCEND 2 trial where with the first 150 patient cohort at 6 months follow-up, the safety was clearly met, and obviously, as one should be seeing in a replacement valve, we pretty much virtually eliminated the TR on these patients and showed a substantial improvement in the quality of life as well. We're currently waiting to show the full 400 patient cohort at 1 year results at the upcoming TCT meeting in October at the in Washington, DC. We also witnessed that when we did these trials, we were able to extremely rapidly enroll the patients, which is typically a good indication of a substantial patient need. So we have gained some milestones lately. We got market approval in Europe at the end of last year fast followed by approval here in the US in the beginning of this year. As I mentioned, we're going to be showing the full cohort results at the TCT this year. We are expanding our valve size matrix to a larger valve, 56. And obviously, we are working on a next generation technologies, 1A, Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4. All that is in the pipeline currently. With that, I would like to conclude. Appreciate your attention and appreciate the opportunity to share some of the technologies that we work on within the mitral and tricuspid at Edwards Life Sciences. Thank you very much.